Hi friends, Brooke here, creator of BrookeAlexandra.tv, your place to activate your lifestyle. And today we're going to be talking about a natural ebb and flow of life. And this is the cycle of expansion and then contraction. And when we go into this cycle, it's so natural. When you look at the tides, we have this natural expansion of the ocean and this natural contraction of the ocean. You look at the moon, you have this expansion of the moon, and then it starts to contract and get smaller. And this whole cycle is so natural. You look at nature and the springtime, everything blooms and the flowers come out and the bees and the birds and everything is full of life. And then here comes the winter and everything, it contracts. The bears go hibernate and the root vegetables are growing, which are underground, and there's so much beautiful rhythm that we can follow through nature, and it's no different than our bodies. And one of the issues that arises for us is that we see contraction as a negative thing, or we see contraction as failure, and it gets us caught in this kind of vicious cycle of having some days where we feel absolutely amazing and on top of the world and in line with our purpose and ready to take on whatever shows up for us. And we do in the most incredible way. And then there's other days where you just want to hide and you don't feel confident and maybe you feel terrible about yourself, or maybe you feel down on your qualities or your purpose or your passions or whatever it is that maybe 2 days ago you were really gung-ho and ready to take on. And this is the cycle that can get us stuck. And so I want to give you a tool to get through this cycle. And that tool is compassion. When we are compassionate towards ourselves, instead of going into this blame game and into beating ourselves up and being negative and starting to feel like depressed, literally depressed when we get into this state of contraction, because you're closing up. And it's natural to feel a little depressed in those states. But instead of feeding that depression monster, instead of feeding that feeling that something is wrong with you, when you meet it with compassion, that's where you can have the breakthrough. And that's where you can start to ride the wave, the natural wave of expansion into contraction. And contraction can give us some really beautiful gifts. And they may not be as easy to see on the surface, but when you start to put these gifts into a place of value, it really can change your life. And these gifts are review and reflection, and it gives you time to reorganize. So when you're in this place of not feeling like expanding out into the world and taking everything on, you can take that time to review things, to go over and maybe pare things down, take out what's no longer needed, whether that's in your psyche, in your home, in your workspace, whatever is no longer needed. Take that time to really reorganize. And then you can take time to review and reflect. When you reflect, you can look at yourself and go, wow, I was just in this extreme state of expansion and it was so beautiful. And right now I'm feeling like I'm contracted, and I'm feeling like I'm in this space of not being able to produce or not feeling so great about myself. And in that space, instead of being hard and feeding into it, really review what is it that isn't working? What is it that I can take a little time and give myself extra nourishment so that when I do get back in that state of expansion, I'm ready to go. I have all my ducks in a row. I've reorganized, I've reviewed, I've taken out what's no longer needed, and I've reflected upon myself, I've reflected upon my emotions, upon my relationships, upon the types of things that are going on in my environment. And then when you get back into that state of expansion, you're actually in a greater capacity to move forward in your life. And this is a really, really beautiful cycle that I wish for you to harness and to start to feel and to start to get comfortable with, because I know that it's not always comfortable. And that's okay. The uncomfortability is like the little lizard in the egg, and he has to break out to gain his strength. So sometimes we have to go through this harder time, this time of that we're not pleased, that we're displeased with life or ourselves or whatever it is, and just realize that that's a huge building block for you. So these states of contraction are your stepping stones. Your states of contraction are where you're laying down the foundation to walk your path more firmly, more directly, more purposefully. So I invite you to look at this expansion versus contraction in a new way. Start to give yourself some serious compassion. Love yourself up. And give yourself that time to reflect, review, reorganize. It's really important. It's a really beautiful, beautiful time. And the more you do it, the more you nourish yourself and feed yourself love, the shorter the contraction phase gets until you're ready to actually birth. It's like a woman. She starts with her contractions 20 minutes apart, and then they're 10 minutes apart, and then they're 5 minutes apart, and then all of a sudden she's birthing this child into the world. And you can do the same thing with your projects. In that state of contraction, really pull inward and feel. Feel what it is you need to feel, but don't be harsh on yourself about it. And then when you come into that place of expansion, you just keep getting closer and closer and closer to birthing what it is that you want to birth out into this world. So thank you guys for joining me. I do want to say a few quick things. I'm going to be putting out at least one video per week, and I am going to be doing more interesting things, like going through all of the MEEPs, the mental, emotional, environmental, physical, and spiritual health. And this will involve little cooking segments. This will involve some natural remedies. This will involve some natural beauty products. So I'm really going for more of a conscious Martha Stewart vibe here. And I invite you guys to join me on this journey of life. I love you. Thank you for joining me. If you love this, or you think it could help a friend, send it on over to them. Remember to like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I will see you next week. Thank you for joining me. Sending you off with all my love and gratitude. Ciao for now.